Am I in the right place?
Yeah.
My name is Tanya Gold and I'm a journalist. I wrote an article for The Guardian in 2010 called Why I Hate Fashion. I have many issues with the fashion industry in its full bloom. I believe that at its worst it is racist, misogynist, conservative and is professionally dedicated to the enhancement of misogyny because that is how it makes money. High fashion is not for normal women. It is for very wealthy, very thin women. It doesn't speak to normal women. It has nothing to do with them. In fact, its job is to make normal women feel so envious and unhappy about their own appearances as you hold up the beautiful, tiny 14-year-old girl that we will spend the money on the handbags and the shoes and the perfume trying to look like someone we will never look like and should not want to be looked like. Well, fashion at its best is an opportunity for women to express themselves. And it should be like that, but far more ordinarily these days, it's more of a vehicle for self-hatred. And I think there isn't much opportunity for women to express the way they feel through fashion because every year there's another trend. Every year, the word is fashionable. You know, you need to wear this. If you wish to be cool and groovy, you will wear this. You will spend yet more money. I don't see much celebration of a woman's individual look. And above all, by raising up this unachievable ideal of beauty, the underweight, spotty teenage girl in a couture dress, she makes all other women feel like shit. Am I anti-fashion because I just wear a black sock?
This is not a typical documentary film, it's an essay film. Yamamoto often mentions that he hates fashion, although he is known as one of the notable fashion designers. His theory is that he doesn't want to follow or set a trend. Ladies and gentlemen, a way of introduction, this is a film about anti-fashion.
Pop.
Definition of anti-fashion can be misleading in many ways. According to Hollander, anti-fashion should not be defined in opposition to fashion, but as a periodically fashion attitude.
Absolutely useless.
Definition of fashion in Oxford Dictionary is a popular or the latest style of clothing, hair, decoration or behaviour. In fact, the direct definition that the Oxford Dictionary would give you for trend is fashion. Trend is fashion, meaning fashion is trend. Anti is prefix, meaning being opposed of or against something.
It means simply, I don't follow the trend.
Yohji Yamamoto is an award-winning and influential Japanese fashion designer.
I hate fashion.
Who calls himself a dressmaker rather than a designer. He built his reputation by creating garments that go against the fashion grain. He often mentions in various interviews that he hates fashion and anger toward it keeps him inspired.
Fashion is about what's next. So this is the question about time.
Yamamoto has established this painful process of creating anti-fashion through fashion to design garments that can be both avant-garde and classic at once.
Do something timeless.
Like Yamamoto, meet these two young contemporary designers, Harper and Carr, who are based in York.
We make garments to order from our collection.
How they work is very intriguing. It's old-fashioned, yet the most traditional way of making garments.
So the word fashion, I suppose, is about trends and about...
Of course they are anti-fashion designers, hate the fashion
new
system.
Things, and then people buy it and then it becomes a fashion. But a fashion isn't something that lasts. A fashion is completely disposable. So I guess that's why we are anti-fashion, because our brand and how we want people to use and wear our clothes is not about a fashion, it's about something with more longevity.
Nonsense clothing that then influences high street clothing that then is sold as cheaply as possible, seasonally, en masse, to everybody, who then chuck it away. I find that a pretty disturbing way of approaching it, really.
I don't follow mainstream fashion mainly because of the whole aura around the fashion world, like the waste of the... It's just the way that a new season comes in and then it's forgotten again. I don't think that's a way that we should be living or wearing clothes, I think.
Like that Kanye West and Adidas thing that's just kind of happened. Like, who the hell is Kanye West, really? I mean, like, what...
Yeah.
What... It's just... It's just completely irrelevant.
Charles Peterson. I'm a photographer that lives here in Seattle, Washington. The grunge scene started in the mid-'80s through the mid-'90s, and it was really a movement of bands that started particularly here in the Pacific Northwest and then specifically Seattle, that played this loud, obnoxious, dynamic music that pulled in elements from punk and heavy metal and classic rock and garage rock and hair rock and you name it, but it's really trying to just sort of create this new movement that was different from both the sort of the indie rock scene that had become quite kind of arty and maybe too dark for its own good, and then and also the commercial scene, which was like the LA hair bands at the time. It also just sort of bubbled up out of boredom. Photograph that is going to stand the test of time, and I think will go into the history books, is the one that I took of the stage diver at the Nirvana show, who's jumping off the PA and from the upper left-hand corner, and you see the whole audience. It sums up, it's an iconic photograph, it sums up a generation.
You go around, cities everywhere, and you see some real stereotypical grungies, with the Pearl Jam shirt, and, with the stocking cap and, the really neat long johns with the shorts, and you just say, I spit on you.
Remember Pussy Galore show where this kid kept spilling beer on me, and I just finally turned around and wrapped the camera strap around my wrist and pulled it over my head, and I said, you spill beer on me one more time and this is in your face.
Hey, I spit on you.
And yeah, we sort of kind of gravitated to certain styles, almost almost somewhat distinct ones even within the sort of umbrella of grunge. So, you'd have a band, say, like Mudhoney, who were more into peg jeans and vintage kind of surf shirts or whatever and beads. And then you had more like the Alice in Chains, who were really more like, the flannel and their Soundgarden flannel and cut off jeans and combat boots,
Rock guy.
So, but initially, grunge style came about just because that's what people wore, and it's really hard to, I think, break it down even more than that. We just sort of, it was, as Kurt sang in the song "Come as You Are," it's "Come as You Are," and that's sort of how a lot of us, we didn't think about fashion per se. Anti-fashion. The idea of anti, I don't know, in Buddhist cultures, in Buddhism, there's a saying, kill the Buddha, which means don't rely on the Buddha, don't rely on these tropes, they are, and you can say that for fashion or for music or for art, books, photography. Break the rules. about what the rules are, and don't be so conscious of what you're doing. I think maybe that's where the anti comes in too. Just do it. I think grunge style started out as anti-fashion, and not consciously, and there we go. That's maybe the definition of anti-fashion.
Ironically, grunge style became precisely what it never was, high-profile fashion trend. By being so anti-fashion, punk and grunge ultimately tricked up to influence high-end fashion.
Had videos on heavy rotation and fans, younger fans especially, started imitating and copycatting, and that's what happens with just
Who didn't get a flannel shirt for Christmas from their relatives, and you tie it around your waist and you run off and do a stage dive all across America? But up here, because it's lager territory, all these goonballs just wear flannel anyways, and then that's what became the stereotype here.
Mannequins in stores with long johns and shorts for $300. And it's like we got them fooled. We wear long johns up here because it's fucking cold.
When 7th Avenue decided that grunge wear was something they'd put on the runway, and when Vanity Fair did a spread with people like Joan Rivers wearing grunge wear, that was the only moment for me so far that came close to unbearable.
So, and yeah, then Marc Jacobs picked up on it, and then it was sort of became silly from that point on.
And tonight we've been talking about a very important topic, a very important part of the life of the believer, and that is shyness or modesty, modest dressing. Dress in a modest manner.
يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء.
This is a verse from Quran. Prophet of Islam to tell his wives, daughters, and the believing women to cast their garments over their bodies when going outdoors.
The rag on our heads. Why do we wear that thing?
The hijab is a symbol of modesty and privacy. For me, my hijab is it's my identity, and I feel incomplete without it, as I feel more confident with it. For many of us who wear the hijab, it has a very personal and religious significance, as it distinguishes us as Muslims and being part of the sacred Muslim community called the Ummah. I tie my hijab like it's my crown because I'm proud of being part of such a beautiful religion, but my style pleated within it.
To identify ourselves as being Muslim, that we would be recognized. This is an act of truthfulness, all right, so that everybody will know that we are Muslim women. We want everyone to know that we are Muslim women. We are proud of being Muslim women.
Hijab is an act of worship. Hijab is an act of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And it's a warning. Oh, yeah.
I would have no problem with fashion apart from 3 things. 1, the pollution. 2, the exploitation of workers. And 3, the thin. The fashion models are much too thin.
Remember, fashion is trend, trend is fashion.